So these three spectacular features of the Western Macdonnell Ranges, they're Ellery Creek Big Hole, Mount Sonder, Mount Giles, Ormiston Pound, Ormiston Gorge and Goss's Bluff there. These three areas here provide the catchment area for the Finke River, or as it's locally known as the Larapinta. And from Goss's Bluff you've got the Ruddles Creek system that joins the Finke River just south of Glen Helen Gorge there, and Mount Sonder, Mount Giles provides the bulk catchment for the beginning of the Finke River there. The Ormiston Creek system flows through Ormiston Gorge and then joins up with the Davenport Creek that rises up south of Mount Sonder, and that begins a 600 kilometre journey down through the Central Ranges and down into the Simpson Desert and into the Lake Eyre system there. And just south of Hermansburg there, a township about 130 kilometres west of Alice Springs there. This is where it starts to head through the Gritchoff Range there and part of the James Range there. You can see where Ellery Creek then joins the Finke River, and a little bit further down you have Boggy Waterhole, which is quite a significant place there and a reliable source of water throughout Central Australia there. And you get a sense of the river itself. It is in fact kind of an arrogance how it passes through this mountain range there, and doesn't seem to have any regard to the geological features around there. Maybe that's due to the fact that it's an incredibly old river there, one of the oldest rivers in the world. In some parts it's maintained its course for over 100 million years there. Continues south and eventually comes out to on the southern side of the Central Ranges there, and quickly changes direction and heads in an easterly direction, making its way down to the Lake Eyre Basin system, which is one of the lowest points in Australia, about 12-15 metres below sea level there. And of course it lazily meanders down through the sand country, picking up a fair bit of water as it does. And in this particular case you've got the Palmer River that flows out of the George Gill Range there, and areas where Kings Canyon Wataka National Park is located there, and it continues to meander, and a little bit further down that's where it's actually joined by the Hugh River, which we talked about, that originates around the Chewings Range and then continues further down in a southeasterly direction there past the iconic Horseshoe Bend there. Horseshoe Bend is an important part in the southern Aranda country there, and one of the best books I've read is by T.G. Strello, when he as a 14-year-old walked from Hermansburg all the way down the Finke River to Horseshoe Bend there, accompanying his father in his dying days there. And in fact his father passed away at Horseshoe Bend, and that's where he's buried there. And that story is about a boy becoming a man, but also going through an incredibly intensive cultural experience there in that particular journey there, and it's certainly worth looking into that particular story. And you can see that the Finke River then continues down and pretty much disappears into the western edge of the Simpson Desert there, and flows underneath the sand there. And again you can see some remnants of where the water resurfaces, but all water that falls in the Central Ranges leads to the Lake Eyre Basin here, and eventually gets evaporated there. So as a droplet of water, you never make it to the sea if you are dropped in around the Central Ranges there. You do have a fascinating journey as you head down there. If you're not evaporated or used by the biosphere, you are culturally significant and regarded by the Aranda people there. Spectacular physical and cultural landscape that's certainly worth exploring.